Harry is so demanding. I'm also very hungry. So tired. All right, we're live on Facebook.
Yeah, my headset's not working, so that's fine.
You can't hear? Mm-mm. Why not?
I don't know. It quit halfway through the show, but I couldn't.
Can you hear now?
Yeah.
All right. Just probably wasn't getting amped enough.
That's it. Well, that's all right.
Come on, Harry.
He was talking mostly anyway.
I got an appointment to go look at this other studio location a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Really, really nice and super in the price range.
Nice. Cheap. Well, let's make sure we don't lose all of our subscribers first.
For $500.
Here, get the curtain, please.
Oh, wow.
Do that in my booty.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the bonus segment.
Butler fan?
No.
Oh.
Why?
Gordon Hayward just had a career-ending injury.
Oh, that sucks. What happened?
What sport?
I can't watch it right now, but it looks like it's a leg injury.
I hate that. I don't like watching.
Stretchered
those.
off the floor. It looks horrific. Is what the description says.
And that's why the NCAA sucks, because if he was getting paid,
he's a Celtic, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were playing Cleveland.
So, anyways, welcome to the bonus segment. We're going to cover a little bit of Spain. We're going to cover a little bit of Me Too, and we're going to cover my beard. You guys were complimenting. I want to.
So I got to know about the beard first.
I want to thank everybody for their support of my beard. Honestly, it's been a big week in my life. I became a hat guy. Mm-hmm. I lost my co-host, and I grew a beard.
If you put off shaving it until November, then you have an excuse the whole month.
So So I was watching. Well, so you asked. Well, I got hot, Sarah. That's why I took the flannel and the hat off. Cause it's hot.
Starts undressing.
Yeah. So I'm manly now, and very rugged. So you asked Harry asked off air how I decided to grow the beard, and basically I got tired of being confused for a lesbian, and I just kind of realized that like maybe I needed to have more of a masculine type like facial structure because when I shave my face I really do look like a lesbian. So I was like, I wonder if I can grow a beard yet. And so I tried and I was like, hey, I'll try this out. And then my friend Caitlin Kopetsky of the Chick McGee Show hit no, the thermostat is at 67. It's boiling in here. I'm dying.
It's freezing.
And so Caitlin told me to get some
right.
beard balm, and man, it's really nice. I went all out. I got a beard
comb.
brush.
Yep.
I got a beard comb. I got a beard shampoo and conditioner.
Nice.
I got beard balm. I got beard oil.
Got oil?
I'm all ready.
Oil's essential.
Oh,
every day.
You like the oil over
every day.
Over the
it makes it so soft.
Over the the wax?
Yeah.
Why?
The wax is more for making it shape right. You know,
okay.
If it's all frizzed out,
got it.
You can shape it in.
Got it.
The oil is like a daily treatment to keep it soft.
Okay, all right.
So girls want to touch it.
Right. See. How many girls touch your beard, Galt?
All of them.
I don't believe you. You're a liar.
Well, you can't prove it.
You're right. I feel like there's a logical fallacy, but I'm too dumb and tired to figure it out.
Yep.
Tired of your beard privileges. Can you guys check your beard privilege?
So, Harry, can you not grow a beard?
No, I still can't.
Aw.
Still can't.
It's okay. You can grow a mustache and I can't.
Yeah. Well, just here on the side. Like, it gets here, and then it just does right here on the side. Like, I bet I could probably do a Fu Manchu if I let it go out.
Right.
But it starts looking weird and curves down into my mouth, and nothing else is growing in.
Right.
And I just get annoyed and shave it off.
Oh, yeah.
So let's jump into some of the topics. Poor Harry's been trying to do Spain on Tuesday for like 4 weeks now, and it is important, and we just keep putting it off because of Vegas and my own Vegas and
Good
so
people going to 32nd floor out of character.
So Harry, do you want to start with Spain or Me Too?
Crap.
Spain.
Okay, you want to do Spain?
Sure.
Let's do Spain.
Kick it off. Tell us what happened.
All right, so I'm sure all you guys are really deep into Spanish politics or just the EU period. But the reason why its secession is in the news, and you know when it happens, I like to jump in and find out like what's going on, like modern day secessionist movements. Those intrigue me. So like So the Spain is it's basically like cut up into like different communities. For easy, because since I'm in America, I'm going to call them states because it's easier. But so they got these different states. So like the state of Catalonia, which has the city of Barcelona. So most people only really know of Spain of Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah,
so,
soccer.
Yeah, it's what everyone knows about.
Yeah.
The state of Catalonia is basically like having like different like a sacramental. They're trying to get away from the big different group of Spain, since just like what if one of the states here in America, in the United States, was trying to secede from the rest of the Union, and they've been having issues. They've been doing this for about. Since like they got conquered really over 200 200 years ago, like the 1700s, because Spain, as we know, and most people growing up here just in the United States, like knowing that like Spain wasn't just this one solid country the entire time, that it was split up. Different political factions own different ones, different royalties own different parts, and wars happen, and that's kind of how it got to be this one thing as we know as Spain. But Catalonia, they've tried to keep their own separate culture. They kept their own separate language as they stood up in the northeast of Spain. Mm-hmm. Now,
they tried, but they also got persecuted by Franco when he had a dictatorship. He tried to flush all the Catalonian culture out of the region, and that's why we argue about politics in sports now, but that's why Barcelona versus Real Madrid in soccer is so huge, is because Franco owned Real Madrid, and it was basically a war on the soccer field.
Yes.
So sports there is it's all intertied.
Yeah, it's a peaceful war that they like to have with each other because they can't do anything else because they can't have guns.
Yeah. So they held a special election.
Yeah, in 2014. No, they had a special election this year too, but they had a different election in 2014. They basically had a ceremonial election basically secede from Spain. It was a cardboard paper ballot, and it was just at one of their festivals. I'm not going to pronounce it because I'm going to butcher that name.
But help to gauge interest.
Right, they gauge interest, and they actually saw. So it was like basically a good poll on interest of like the people of the Catalonian people that want to go ahead and do this. And from there, from 2014, they kept trying to move different steps. The Spanish government didn't want that because Catalonia is basically their tax farm. Yeah. Catalonia is where a lot of the manufacturing's at. That's where a lot of the rich, educated people are. And the rest part of Spain doesn't mean that there's not money down there. There's not people who are educated down there, but the majority of them concentrate in Catalonia. The majority of Spain makes a lot of their money through tourism. The European Union, broadly, there's an EU company, the EU states or countries in the EU, they're having they've been in recession just like the America is, but they're not bouncing back just like we are. So they're not having a good enough time getting like tourism to get back on it. So Catalonia is getting heavily taxed. So as Catalonia is trying to separate themselves from it because it's basically just self-defense, trying to get away from the tax burden of Spain, from people, because money would just flow out of Catalonia and go straight to Madrid, and they would get basically crumbs back. Now, what the Spanish government has been trying to do, they've been doing political ways to try to keep Catalonia inside of Spain. They've offered them the bait and switch of, hey, we're going to offer you we're going to do these improvements. Look, we're going to do this better. And then they watched it drop by, was like 15%. Their budget to them just dropped by 15%. Then they went and did then they're like, well, you can't leave because this is Spain's national debt and you owe this. So they were trying to take their national debt and like, nope, this is your share. You can't leave till you pay this off. They're trying to use all their money, their currency, basically, to try to make them to
anything they can hold over their head.
Right, yeah. And
any way that they've legally made, they can hold over their head. That's what they're going to do.
And that's why Bitcoin
to make sure they can't do it.
And Bitcoins and cryptocurrency is important because they're trying to get you over this currency that the Spanish government, that they've inflated, that they have destroyed, printing money to basically buy votes from the non-working tourist towns area, and they use that to buy votes to get this to try to, attack their tax cattle of Catalonia.
So they had to vote again this year.
Correct. They had to vote against this year. They tried to have a vote against this year to actually fully to do it, but the Spanish government said this is you don't have the right to do this vote.
They blocked the polling places.
Blocked
barricaded them up. Wouldn't let people in.
Yeah, wouldn't let people in. They sent their version of the National Guard in to collect to take down the polling places, to collect the polling boxes, the voting boxes, and basically they just stop it. The Catalonian Police Department even got in the middle of it because you watched the Catalonian police trying to just give law and order, because technically they're sworn to different in Spain, but then you watch some of them go and try to protect the people from the National Guard because they were coming in force, because they came in full riot gear and just started hitting and would hit people with with batons and just come at people at full force.
Now, could you ever imagine that California decided they wanted to hold this vote?
Yeah.
And the federal government stepped in and did that same thing that Spain did?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that happening here?
I can imagine.
Or Texas. Let's say Texas.
I can imagine that happening.
In Texas?
But I don't think anybody would be mad if California left. But yeah,
right,
Texas.
Let's say Texas.
Texas. Or another northeastern country, state inside the America, New Hampshire, decided to secede, and get away and actually live free or die and get the heck out. Yeah. And watching tanks and stuff like that to say, you can't go, you still owe us money.
There's a reason that the government wouldn't try that here.
Yeah.
It's because we have armed citizenry.
Correct, yeah.
And Spain, for years, has disarmed their citizenry, so that only military, only police, only enforcement of the law has those weapons.
Yep.
Not the ability, it's just the ability to have them.
Correct.
That threat there would keep it keeps that government threat in check.
Yeah, they would have to make sure the protests stay peaceful. They couldn't send in their National Guard goons to go and attack these different people. Now, a lot of different people have a lot of faith in the Oath Keepers, but the Oath Keepers, a small group, and they and if you're trying to tell me that the United States military does not have a database of every Oath Keeper, and they would make sure the Oath Keepers are all in a different spot. When they're trying to quash a secessionist movement, that's going to happen. They won't if Texas, New Hampshire, California try to secede, they're not going to send Oath Keepers.
They're not going to not do anything, but they're not going to out in the open bring.
They're
kind of force against their own people.
Yeah, they're gonna. But they'll try to make it.
Secretly.
Yeah, they'll try to.
They're going to be secret about it.
Correct. They'll try to do diplomatic ways to do this. You can't leave, or kind of like the way that England has done with Brexit. Now granted, England they don't have their weapons either, but they're just a different island to the EU, and it's a different story from that way. But it's going to be more like that the EU and England are having to try to get breakaway. If another state do that, they would have to do it that diplomatic way. You know what? We're going to go our own direction, or the same way that Scotland and the United Kingdom did it, where they tried to they just basically spent an entire campaign and made promises and showed hey, we'll do better. We'll make sure this is better so you don't go. And that's one thing that is missing from American politics is the threat of secession. It's one thing to be able to tell Washington, D.C., hey, we're unfairly taxed. We don't like your law. I doubt Obamacare would have went through if a lot of states said, you know what, we don't want Obamacare. We're just going to secede. Because when it comes down to it, the United States, it's not a suicide pact. It's just a union that the states signed for protection, and then once it starts not being protection and being a liability and just taking us down, and it just becomes an albatross. Take off those shackles and go for secession. And it's not for, and these are not for light and transient causes of just taxes. There's more stuff that also would happen inside of Catalonia. They had different laws and rules onto them. Like they said, the unfair because the unfair tax that they also had to live under. Yeah.
And there's just in the show when we talked about bring those things to us. There's so many pieces to the puzzle to get the full picture of what's happening.
Yeah, and if this is your expert, this is your thing that you get autistic about. Yeah, definitely it is. But because, like I said, this has been going on for hundreds of years. So my little 2 weeks of research on this thing is not going to barely scratch the surface of every little detail on this thing. But going on with it, there was a lot of broken promises also from the Spanish government. Catalonia was supposed to have their own type of parliament, their own type of government, and basically be separate from Spain, but still be a part of Spain. And Spain basically like reneged on all of those promises.
Pulled that rug right.
Whoa,
from
whoa,
under.
whoa, whoa! Careful
up?
with that word.
It said renege.
Okay.
But yeah.
Sorry to break you off your flow. I was trying to interject a joke.
30 minutes of talking.
I know. 30 minutes of Autistic Screechy taking out by a joke.
Only
Meme
15
him.
minutes.
Meme him.
I'm too so fragile. Don't.
That's why we can't get a green screen. He's too scared to be on a green screen.
I'm in Delaware.
It's snowing inside.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Like I said, where was it? Like, yeah, the rug got pulled underneath from them, and they're and I can't think of what Spain think is going to be the result of all this, because if I was in Catalonia, even after seeing that, if I didn't vote for secession, I'm on for it now.
Oh,
because
if you were on the fence,
if you're on the fence, you're on the other side now. That is an abusive relationship. If that was a relationship between like two people, that's an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
I want to leave. Well, yeah, here's some violence. Here's some domestic violence. And what shocked me is the way the EU responded. They just decided to side with Spain, and everyone else is being quiet about it.
of course they would. Government always chooses government.
Right, yeah. Because if Catalonia is separated from Spain, they can't join the EU.
Right.
So they're going to take all that extra money that Spain owes to the EU is going to go out of the way. So they're not going to get paid. So that whole debt trail,
Selfish interests.
Yep, that debt trail or currency. Which if they had their own different currency, they went to a cryptocurrency and stopped paying their freaking taxes and separated themselves. Then they're basically seceded without the piece of paper.
There are a lot of powers that wouldn't allow that.
It's really hard to stop cryptocurrency.
I might have to learn Spanish.
Yeah. That's what the other thing is going to like. That's another thing with the cryptocurrency. I will feel really bad for those people who reported their Bitcoins on their taxes form, their Bitcoin wallets, because the way the United States government sees that as property, not currency, as property. So Bitcoin has went up. What is it, like 500%?
Yeah, I mean, just in the last month, it's went from like 3,200 to 6,000 almost.
Yeah, so that's like having a piece of property that just jacked up in price. Yeah. So I hope you didn't never claim to your Bitcoin wallet or your Bitcoins on your tax forms. I hope no one's foolish enough to do that, because they're going to get screwed next year. Sorry, that's my little.
I'm just listening. I'm enjoying this.
That's my little take on that.
I've never really heard Harry host a show, so I'm just kind of listening. I'm enjoying it.
Am I hosting the show?
I mean, basically,
sounds like it.
Am I? Ops.
I'm over here just listening.
I mean, you can keep ranting.
Sorry.
Keep going.
Me too.
Yeah, I love it when different secessionist moves. I like it when it's peaceful. The other thing that also got me with it was like the Spanish government trying to say, well, you don't have the right to secede. No one asked for the right. You just take it.
Yeah.
Just because you don't need a sheet of paper written down by people you've never met to tell you that you have the right to be free. You have those rights inalienable by your creator. As an anarchist, I don't like the ideas of government. But I can understand that why people want it.
Security.
Yeah, it's security, and in this day and age, when you're surrounded by governments, it can kind of see like a necessity. But I can get down with the idea of a temporary government, that needs to be renewed every 10 years. Like a temporary contract.
We have to vote for.
Yeah. Do we want to renew this thing? But I don't know where that voice came from. I think it's more nervous than I was doing this show. Kind of scared now.
I will take back over command if you're nervous. It's okay.
Now I'm sweating.
I know a little bit about Spain. I just don't know as much as you. So
But like it's. I like the way it talks, because it allows Americans, because that's most people who are going to listen to it is not going to be in Catalonia. I doubt anyone's listening to this in Germany. Je ne comprends pas. But majority of this is going to be Americans.
Let's look at those Google Analytics, see if anybody's in there.
But the what I like to bring it up, and the main reason I bring it up, because I don't know what you can, if you can help someone and help Catalonia secede, and you can do that on personally, go ahead and do that. But the main thing what you can do is be able to bring up these different topics of an abusive government state, of secession, of these different topics to someone else here in the United States, and not have to have the baggage of this the Civil War like the United States secession movement has. Every time you try to bring up secession or separating from the United States government, you get hit with the baggage of slavery and of the Confederacy in the United States. But this way, it allows you to have this conversation.
Yeah, not related to that.
Yeah, without that baggage, without the emotional baggage of like, well, this is my country. Okay, let's talk about a different country. Let's talk about Spain. Let's get to get in the nitty gritty about those and have these different topics of people. It's like, well, how much is enough to be taxed? This is wrong. Well, our tax is fine, but I want to talk about these people's taxes and how this is fine. How taking money from these different states to fund these different programs. This is because those things can still correlate to here in the United States. The people who think they're smarter than everyone that live next to the ocean believe they've got all the money, they've got all the trade, and they think they're better than the flyover country, but the flyover country does pay a lot of taxes in a massive bulk. And those people will understand how it feels to have money taken from them, sent to a federal government, and kicked out to other places and not see any of that money in return. It's places like New Hampshire, Texas, used to be Colorado for the wheat thing. The northern Colorado wanted to secede from southern Colorado because of Denver. Denver had such a dense population of poor people, so like the farms and all the other rich people in northern Colorado wanted to secede from the other part of Colorado because they got tired of their taxes going down there and not getting everything fixed up in northern Colorado. There's a lot of different that's such an old story, and I'm trying to think of everything that happened out there in Colorado. But the weed taxing has helped because they're able to collect enough taxes from the poor people because they're buying something that is taxed in the city to be able to bring that data. Now, taxation is theft. I'm not celebrating Texas. I'm just playing ball in a system that they all play ball in. I think it's all.
We have to do it every day.
Yeah, and
it's hard.
Yeah, and it freaking sucks. I don't. How can I put it? If they didn't have to pay taxes, and that's where a lot of these arguments come from, is the theft and the money, where the money go. It's the same way it happens. Most of the different arguments with different government happens because of the freaking tax reasons. But that's the same thing with California. Northern California wants to get rid of Southern California because that's where the majority of the population. That's where most of the problems. You hear problems about California.
LA.
It's LA, San Francisco, that area, that bottom south. That's the majority of the people is like that drought. Northern California didn't know what the heck they were talking about. Northern California had water, they had food, they had everything. Now they're getting burnt to a crisp. Now they're getting kind of burnt. They're having the Silent Hill simulator going on right now up in Northern California. But a lot of that could have been prevented. Different things could have happened. I don't believe the wildfire would have been as bad if they weren't hindered with the crappy politics of Southern California. But the same way that also happens in, Texas. Texas is a freaking huge state, and then you've got separation between Houston, Dallas, Austin, and they basically become these gigantic fiefdoms of trying to control the Texas government. I don't live in Texas. I've never been to Texas, so I'm sure the people who listen from Texas knows what I'm talking about because, like I said, I've skimmed it.
Never been to Texas.
I hear it's very beautiful.
I've been to Austin. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the main reason I've never been, I will never go to Texas because everything I've heard about Texas, I feel like if I've gone down there, I will not leave. I will not leave.
Love it.
Yeah.
I know I will love it, and I wouldn't leave.
Austin,
so I will not go.
Austin seems like a great place for us to do wall. What do you think?
Absolutely.
I'm not going.
What about Dallas?
No. I honestly, I would love to go to Austin. I would get down there, and I probably would like it because I love the heat. Everything I see about it, everyone complains about. Oh man, I freaking love it. But my plans are moved to New Hampshire. I'm sorry, I've got to go to New Hampshire.
Raider.
Got to go to New Hampshire. We're up there with lava flow.
He's signed up. Once they have enough people, he's moving.
Yeah,
They already have enough people. They already have 20,000 participants. So now it's just about getting people to make the move and get up there, and then hopefully dismantling of the SSP. But
So
do they have it?
What's your date? When are you moving?
My planned move, I'm actually technically a little over a month over. I was planning on moving Labor Day this year.
Okay.
But that didn't happen. We had a child, so that kind of skewed our date of moving. I didn't want to rip,
wall apart.
you want to rip wall apart, because
What about me? God damn it!
and
You could have your field reporter in New Hampshire.
and
Whoopee!
could be up there.
We LARPed for 5 hours today.
New Hampshire's doing a lot for the cause of liberty. Joe Hampton brought up a thing at the Wall Live event about trying to get the people from the Republican Democratic Party in New Hampshire who defected and went to the Libertarian Party and try to get them reelected as Libertarians. Now, a lot of people's like, well, that's not my state. That's no big deal. The thing is, right, the way New Hampshire politics is that a little bit of money, $5, $10 a dollar, is huge in New Hampshire. There is close to 400 different seats in their Congress in that little itty bitty state of New Hampshire. There's 400 of these guys. So it's all about getting door to door and talking to people and shaking hands and getting things out there. So those little grassroots things that you used to do, like people's like, well, yard signs don't work. Well, it works in New Hampshire because the fiefdoms are very small. And most people will only will vote for somebody that they see a sign for, or they've seen a handshake, or be able to go to the farmer's market there, or just be around in New Hampshire because it's so small and so personal out there. Mm-hmm. And the benefit of the Libertarian Party as a whole to have those people in their house reelected and then possibly pick up more seats is because that shows legitimacy to other different states that it can be done. Look at what we've got, and you may try to get more defectors. More people who are, Republican in name only that are really libertarians, but, the ballot system is so screwed up that they had to run as Republican. You may get them to switch back over. I know I've kind of lost the field, but from Catalonian, so try to get back to it is, New Hampshire does have a secessionist movement. They're not all, everyone in the secessionist movement aren't all free staters. I think it's only a few of them. A lot of them are already been there, and some people don't like the idea and the talk about it, but it's a good talk to have because New Hampshire is one of the few states that like to thumb their finger and different stuff at the United States federal government, that they'll try to say well, you need to do this, and they'll tell them, no, we're not doing that. We'll use our 10th Amendment and you can go screw yourself, like the Real ID Act. The New Hampshire balked at that and said no, and then changed their freaking constitution so they couldn't do that. New Hampshire's the last state that you do not have to wear your seatbelt to drive on the roads there. Granted, majority of the people do because they're not stupid, but they don't need a law to tell them to put a seatbelt on.
Do they have daylight savings?
In New Hampshire? Yeah, they have it. They do? Yeah, they have it. It's because it's a business thing. Every business freaking does it. It's stupid. I hope they don't go with it. Hopefully also they also change their calendar because really it's the year 12,017.
Yes.
If we, Yeah. Thank you.
Spangle is not even in.
Not even listening.
It's 12,017.
It's the current year.
Yeah, 12,007. But
time is a lie.
Yeah, and then, time's a lie.
That's another conspiracy for you.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, secession doesn't work, and what would you do with it? And it's like, well, majority of the system would just keep working. Yeah. You wouldn't send your federal taxes to the federal government, and you would do your own state. Interstate commerce,
would still keep running.
It would still keep running. People travel from Canada into Detroit all the time, and vice versa. It happens. People travel between states. It's more of an act of aggression. The United States doesn't want to do business with you. That's just being petty. But of course, if the United States government doesn't want to do business with you, there's other countries that would love to do business with you, because if you're free and open market and they got a port, they're probably docking your port before they dock in Boston's port if your taxes are correct.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So if if New Hampshire kicked the military out of that, the federal government had to leave that big gigantic port open in Portsmouth. They'd dock there before they docked in Boston Harbor.
Yep.
You know?
Competitions lower those prices.
real quick.
Instantly.
And once Maine sees that from the fishing industry, they'll jump on board too, and they'll just bring it right across the border for you guys. But the secessionist talks also helps keep the federal government in check, so that helps them with those different powers, so they don't overreach and move into and meangle into different things.
They have to make changes, or they'll lose more.
Correct.
They'll have even more detractors.
Yep.
If they don't make those changes, then everyone will join them.
Correct. Do you have anything more to say on this topic? You got anything?
No.
All right. The other thing I wanted to go bring up is this whole Me Too thing.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Trigger warning.
This has triggered the crap out of me.
Trigger warning.
And the main thing, all right, so the whole Harvey Weinstein thing, regardless of the fake faux outrage from everyone, women, men, and out of Hollywood, they knew for years. What I love is 4chan and everyone else bringing out the videos of people like commenting on it or just being like the butt of the jokes. And it's been a butt of joke of Hollywood doing this casting couch thing. And it's been this way for like over 50 years. I was watching Jewish guy Ben Shapiro's show, and he brought out an old Audrey Hepburn film where they were talking about the exact same thing that's still happening today. It's just something that happens, and it's with people in power wanting to use sex for favors. It's not just men that do it, women do it too. If you ever seen the comedy The Producers, when he went around and got money from these old ladies were using their money to get sex. Now granted, he wanted the cash, just like some of these actresses, some of them wanted the roles and went through and kept quiet about it. Now, like one's like, well, one was voluntary. It's like, well, like up until this one actress that was decided, it's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to wear a wire. I'm not going to, I'm going to expose all this. Most people was complacent in it.
That's why it took so long.
Correct.
To expose.
Yeah. And they showed Carrie Fisher did it, but she did it quietly. She didn't stand up to him and went on for Carrie freaking Fisher. Okay. But she kept it quiet, it'd have been better. She would have I did that. And then, and then got up and I took this, we're taking this guy down. No, this is enough. But a lot of people kept hush hush because they all played the same team and it basically just played ball with it all. All right. So now fast forward to this Me Too thing that Puff was on Saturday was a hashtag campaign. I was hoping to bring awareness to or help give voice to other women who also have seen different things. And it was starting to go viral around Facebook. And it's and granted, yeah, it's nice to see that, and I hope to give power to a lot of women who feel that they did not have the ability to speak, or if they have before, to be able to bring it up again. And it was it was really nice to see. And nice to see they were being sexually harassed. I'm going to get that there.
Yeah,
but it was nice to see that the courage to stand up and put it on their Facebook wall. This is what happened to me, or Me Too, and I don't want to talk about it. Right?
Yeah,
and I get that. But the main thing that I hated, because once you do something like a hashtag campaign or anything like this, it's going to evolve as it gets on the internet, and then as men started to see it, right? A lot of men who had the exact same experience wanted to share in onto it, but then they were told to shut up. This is not their movement. You stop trying to hijack this. It's not. They're not hijacking.
This is about women.
Right.
That's what they said.
Yeah, this is about women. Stop trying to silence women. Stop trying to be erasive to women. It's I'm not being an erasive. I'm adding my experience too. So when someone else sees it, they know it's not just it's not just a gender's problem or a sexist problem. It's a problem. It's just a problem that needs to be dealt with. Okay? And I've, with all the different women on my list that I saw do it, I only saw 2 women that invited men to talk about their experience on it. I didn't talk about any of my stuff, but it was nice to and I messaged her thank you. So many people are just silent. No, this is about women. Quiet. Stop trying to hijack it. Hijacking it would have been if the memes and the jokes of Me Too and they're showing the TSA guy getting robbed. Those are funny, but that's kind of hijacking and disruling the movement. It's funny, but that's what it's doing. Or Me Too showing my tax form, or Me Too and watching. It's like I think I saw like a black guy getting stopped and frisked.
I went to the accountant yesterday because I had to pay my taxes, and I almost made a Me Too status because I felt violated.
Yeah.
Doing your taxes?
I'm yeah, I didn't get around to it, and I
Ouch.
Ooh.
yeah, now they want their
money.
yeah.
They want their tribute. Their
And you told them no, right? You told
Yeah.
them you're a sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No, I said sorry about not filing for the last 3 years. I'll get those right in.
Tell them you change your name to Schiff.
I didn't make
Chris
any
Schiff.
money.
I was like, exactly right. I owe $800 out of the last 3 years, and had I really started to claim things like
That's not bad.
like I'm going to in 2017, then it's
Yeah. Got learned on how to do your taxes.
I got an accountant.
There you go.
I'm gonna
That's what
start
you
a
needed.
business. It's gonna be great.
Yep. There you go. But like a lot of guys have different experiences that sometimes the majority of the time are, like that do get erased. That, or if some men don't feel like they have a platform to bring it up. Now, granted, like some guys do bring it up inappropriately because like a lot of women like to talk about women's issues, and I get that. That's not when it wants to be pure women and they've got a podcast or something like that. That's their time. Do your own thing and bring it up. But what is awful is also at the same time that you watch some of these same people that when someone wants to get together and talk about men's issue, that gets stopped, that gets barricaded, that gets brought down. I don't really like talking about this subject much because of like the fear of the the harassment trolls out there.
From this
that
collective society.
that goes after people like that.
It's us and them atmosphere out there right now.
Yeah,
No matter what issue it is.
Yeah.
And they need a us and them every single issue. And that's how they do it with things like this.
Yep.
Gender can be exactly the reason.
Yeah, and that's what happens to people. One of the just not the only reason, but one of the main reasons, not main, but like I said, one of the reasons I don't cosplay anymore is because I got touched inappropriately cosplaying, and it was from like a very young, tiny little girl who was touching me. I asked her not to, but she kept going at it, like hugging me or jumping on me, touching my fro, touching me inappropriately, just grabbing me. And you may say like, well, Harry, just tell her to get off. I did, but like, it's not like I was confused because what was happening, and I'm trying to ask her to stop, and I'm trying to be nice, but it just kept going. I also, but at the same time, yes, I'm loud. I can be bassy, but if I was to yell at this girl, I was also scared of the idea that I'm at a convention, right? And I was to sit there at 20 something years of age, yell at this girl. That's what everyone will see. This black man yelling at this tiny little white girl to tell him to get off him, right? Or just yelling. And they wouldn't hear the words I said. They would just see my aggression at that point. So I kind of didn't know what to react. So I had that fear in my head too. That's what was also going to happen as I was trying to tell her to stop. Or I could physically do it. I'm twice her size. I have a lot more muscle mass than her. I can easily push her off me. But then again, I'm stuck at the thing of black guy hurts white girl. Literally be like 14-year-old white girl. And it, so I was sit there stuck, almost like it was being so big, so powerful, yet I had nothing. There's nothing I could do. Luckily for me that there. I'm getting Weinsteined over here.
Let me feel it. Come on.
Your leg?
Come on. Let me feel it. I heard it's big.
It's on the other side. Anyways, the threw me off.
I totally threw.
But luckily for me, there was somebody that saw this what was happening. She got up from her group, walked over to me, right? She looked me in the eye, saw the concern, like, this is for real. I'm trying to get this girl off me. She walked over, grabbed this little 14-year-old girl by the wrist, and just kind of pulled her off me and just walked her away and allowed me just to keep walking. I walked right back to my hotel room, took my cosplay off, and I've never put it on that since.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. there's that. Yeah, like I said,
What a story.
guys have issues too.
Yeah.
Guys can feel powerless because, yes, we're bigger, we're stronger, but, we can't use that against females. We can't because of what society will see that as. And also think of the idea of respect, not respect, but more of understanding my different power. Like, I don't know exactly the right pressure to push against this girl to get her off me and just get her off me, because too much in one direction, one, not hard enough, and it just eggs her on, or she doesn't get her off me. Too hard, she's pushed down and she could fall into something, and then I'm also liable, because I acted in aggression first, but they totally dismiss everything else that would happen.
So maybe the lesson here is maybe if you see things happening, hold judgment until you find out what's actually going on.
Correct, yeah.
Because that's the problem, is people just are so quick to pass judgment these days and profile, and just encourages that same atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you are a victim, speak up, say something, get someone to stop
Help
different
you,
things. Yeah,
because somebody helped you, and that's what made you get through it. It's
Correct.
because somebody helped you get out of that situation.
Yeah,
we can be that person that helps somebody else.
yeah. And I reported it to the con. I don't know if they did anything because, like I said, I'm a 6-foot black guy reporting an incident like that, and trying to tell off on some little 14-year-old girl. I doubt they did anything. I think they took my issue and just put it in a stack, or just said, you know what, she won't do it again.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. We'll get right on that. Just toss. But that's what I would believe. I'm not going to say that's why I'm not going to say the con, because I don't know exactly for sure. They could have went and found her, ejected her from the convention. Okay, because did I see her for the rest of the convention? No. So I don't know. But those are just unknowns.
Have you ever cosplayed Spangle?
Well, one time.
Oh, well, I mean in public.
Okay. Well, I did play a little slave girl, but that was different.
I got that photo of him in that Laura Croft cosplay. I'll post that in the Discord chat.
Slave
Discord,
Leia?
Yeah. Post that in the Discord chat for you guys.
Sweet.
But the other thing is, like, when something does happen, I think people should try to get the strength to try to report it, so something that can happen to it. And then coming in years later and posting it on a social media post, yes, it's nice hearing your story and be able to get your story out. It feels good, but people are going to ask questions, and they want to know, because either they've never seen something like this before and they want to know more about it, and because they're hearing a different side about you and they've never seen before, they've never heard before,
right.
And they want to know, because the majority of the guys that ask questions, they've never done or seen any of that before, and a lot of them don't believe it happens until you really show them. It's an ignorance that a lot of guys have. I heard of people catcalling women, and I've seen videos kind of it in movies and stuff like that, but I never really saw that in real life. And but luckily I have so many different sisters, and that could show me viable proof. They got on their phone and showed me, yes, this does happen here.
Oh, talk to a girl about her her Tinder experience or her Twitter, and we'll have Miranda on, and Miranda's on to talk about the Me Too stuff as well as strip clubs. Miranda, obviously as a stripper is a sex object in some ways, but she also struggles to be treated with any kind of respect. And I feel for women. I think that, a lot of the points you're bringing up are absolutely legitimate. It is a complex issue, but and it's hard in social media when we all just want to try and force everything into, if you dare. Yesterday, I made a status basically saying, not just the sexual harassment, but every single female that I know, probably 100 of my female friends that I've asked, in the workplace, are you talked over and dismissed unless a man validates your ideas? I've never had a female friend say no. It's always yes. And many of the women on the status validated that. And these guys jump on and, instead of going, gee, that sucks that you guys had that experience, or one guy did, I never thought about that. I think I do that all the time. Maybe I should stop. It was these guys just trying to say, that doesn't happen, you don't have the facts, these are just anecdotal evidences. It's why are you trying so hard to disprove something that if you, instead of arguing with me on the internet, took the time to go talk to your female friends, they'd all say the same thing? There's just this weird thing that that if you give a little bit of an inch and say, yeah, it is wrong the way that a lot of, if not most, women are treated. Mm-hmm. If you say that, somehow you are betraying your sex and your like you're betraying your white male brethren, like
collective.
Exactly right. It's a very collective tribalist behavior that I don't get, because to me, like, I can be proud that I'm a man and I can be masculine with my beard and my hat and my flannel and my new truck that I'm going to have. But like at the same time, I can still respect the fact that women are treated like shit. Like, do you know how many women most rapes happen in a relationship or a marriage? Like, women in this country who are married are raped by their husband all the time because men have these backwards ideas that we're married. This is their duty. Like, does that mean that it's all marriages? Does that mean that it's all men? Does that mean that it's a majority of marriages? No. But does that mean that we should stay silent about it so as to not to offend your your delicate little male sensibilities? No, we should say this is fucking wrong and expose the issue and say, if you're going through this, you should speak up, because this douchebag is probably raping other women too in the past. And you know, like, what I've really learned is through my years of therapy here is that trauma runs the world. And people who do not deal with their trauma end up like Donald Trump. Yeah. People who do deal with their trauma and do identify those bad thinking errors end up much healthier than those that don't. And when you deny women the opportunity to speak up and say what has happened to them and talk about the bad shit that's happened to them, it's wrong to do that. Like, we as libertarians should be at the forefront of saying people aren't property. Women are not property. They're not, your wife is not your property. Like, human rights exist. And by the same token, like you said, Harry, like, men should have the same freedom to do that without being shamed by women. And and like, there's something on the left where they weaponize shame, and it just is so wrong. And men's health is why we're in so many of the mass shooting predicaments we're in. The fact that men can't speak up and say, I was molested by an uncle, or I was...
Or Catholic priest. There's thousands of little boys out there right now.
Exactly. Like, male abuse happens, and it's real, and men don't feel comfortable talking about it. Like, I never felt I couldn't open up about my traumatic experience as a kid with my nuclear family and divorce and death and all of this in a very short period of time that caused a ton of issues that I had to work out. And, you know, men don't feel comfortable talking about that, and it's really sad. And I mentioned this on the last episode, and one guy did get a hold of me for my reading list, but I've got a reading list of books that have really helped me grow emotionally, and I think masculinity depends on you having self-assurance, self-confidence, self-esteem, and to have that, you have to be comfortable talking about your emotions and feelings. And if you don't, if you're just closed off and you don't talk, I don't think you're a man. I think that you're a pussy. You're a coward.
Yeah.
And cowards don't do anything great in this world except cower. So step up and be a man and talk about the shit that's happened to you to a therapist, to a friend, to a family member that you know that you can talk to. And one of the great blessings of my life is to get to be a counselor to so many men and women who have gone through a lot of stuff and help them get resources. And you can always email me at editor@wearelibertarians.com. Actually, spangle@wearelibertarians.com. That goes just to me.
Yeah.
But you know, and I'll be glad to help you get help. I'm obviously not going to be your counselor. I can't be, but I think mental health is just so important. And the more we as a society learn to deal with people's trauma on a meta level and have a conversation about mental health and sexual violence and domestic violence, the better off we're going to be. Like, when you look at the black community, go watch the Vice videos about Chicago that I watched this weekend, where you just see the black community is just short generations of trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma. They're not, it is, you go to Chicago and you want to know why the violence is escalating and escalating and escalating. It's because it's all these young guys dying under 20 they're having kids, and then within 15 years, those kids are getting killed, and the anger that builds from seeing the murders, being a part of the murders, being robbed, being molested by drug addicts or family members, like the amount of trauma that Black Americans go through in inner cities is horrific, and nobody's sitting there talking about that. You want to solve our crime problems, end the drug on war, and send in an army of therapists to start dealing with people's emotional issues.
Yes.
And you will see Chicago turn around and become a great place. And we are too much of a pussy nation who will vote for a Donald Trump who is one of the most insecure, backwards, emotional retards I've ever seen in my life. So, women should... I do kind of feel like there is a little bit of showboating, and it is this, over-the-top stand.
Yeah.
It's a drama. And listen, nobody loves drama more than me. So I can respect that. But I do think that to really get past your trauma, you've got to be able to speak about your trauma and tell the story of the worst thing that happened in your life. Mm-hmm. There's just not a single thing in my life that I've never told someone. Like, I have no secrets.
We know everything.
Right.
Everything.
Everything.
Right. Unfortunately for you guys.
Yeah. But anecdotal evidence is evidence, okay? And you're just talking about different experiences in your life. You're not citing a study. So, like, people say, like, that's just what you see. They're like, hey, that's anecdotal evidence. So what? That's what you have in your life. Either you prove me a study if I'm wrong, or I'm just talking about your experiences. Your Facebook page is just your experiences for you to talk to the world. It's not the place that you're going to present your psychology paper. You're not citing sources to do that. But yeah, it's the biggest problem also with a lot of men reacting to it is. It's a large, huge hair that has, just like in the Libertarians, progressives, the GOP, a-holes get inside their different messages, corrupt it, and change different things. So just like the alt-right, there's inside of the other thing that, because when some people bring out feminism, they talk about a lot of the bad that it does. There's all this awful stuff when it's, if you get into the nit and gritty and really start messing with terms, you realize that the feminists that most people hate, they're just a-holes who are feminists, or they subscribe to the school of thought of intersectionality, and that is what you hate. Or they'll try to bring equality to the gender and then use the force of the gun of the government, and that is what you hate. The majority of like people, libertarians, like yes, they respect women, they love women, they want to like help each other, help humans out, just have basic equal human interactions. Yeah. But the a-holes in that movement puts such a rain cloud on it, and it's like, you know what, I can kind of get behind some of these things, but like the intersectionality, the other crap, no. You're an a-hole, and I want to debate you, but you won't, because you'll throw the other charges of me of like trying to say like I've got misogynies because I question thing or ask for different facts. Yeah. The other thing of what it comes out to it, like with this thing is, people should be, if something bad has happened, you should like try to speak up the best you can, get this thing reported, because they're just going to keep going, and so people should be gone against in the courtroom, not the court of public opinion. That's where the biggest problems are, and that's why people have people have questions. Like I used to have huge problems like questioning like sexual assault and rapes. I used to never question it when I was younger, up until the Duke Lacrosse case. That's crazy. Go back and like just look at what happened. Remember the Duke Lacrosse case. If you don't remember it, go look at it and watch all these young men get accused and have their lives and names dragged through the mud because they got accused of rape.
The mattress girl.
Yeah,
the mattress girl had a consensual sexual affair. Mm-hmm. And then I think he went in the wrong hole.
No. Everything in there she wanted.
It was all consensual.
Okay. And it was regret later.
And so, okay. And then she went to the local police, and they're like, you can go to jail for reporting a false rape.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting awarded a bunch of money after she carried around a mattress, and he sued the school for, I think, defamation.
Yep, because they were trying to get her to hold it. Even the school, had known it was up because they didn't want her to bring the mattress to graduation, and she freaking did. And it's a whole different thing. Like even Lena Dunham was talked about how she was raped by a Republican named what was like Barry. That found out that didn't happen. The rape on campus from Rolling Stones, and that's why the Rolling Stone is going in the hole because they got sued to oblivion.
That's why everything has to just be handled individually.
Yeah,
it's individual cases.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, stop grouping genders. Yeah. Stop grouping like groups. It's all individual. Everything individual basis.
People want spotlight. Yeah, people will take advantage of every situation.
Look what happened to Bill Cosby case. If you're following Bill Cosby, he's using all $300 million he has left in court fees to go after the naysayers, or not naysayers, but the fake gold diggers that are going after him for that whole rape. Did he rape some of these women? I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's neat to watch this lawyer take these women apart when they try to, like, they find out that he wasn't even in some of the time zones that some of these women accused when these rapes happened. It's ridiculous to watch that man have his legacy tarnished by all these different women, and no one talks about it. Just like the Michael Jackson case. People still talk about Michael Jackson touching these little boys, even though you find out later that these kids they gotten older and they talked about, they're like, no, my family told me to say these things. This is what my family told me to. He's never touched us. And that, like, wow, Michael wasn't as bad as he has. There's other ones like Harvey Weinstein that actually did bad things and has physical proof, but hopefully this will get moved into the courtroom so like stuff can happen, not in the court of public opinion. If you just keep it in the court of public opinion, it's just going to go like, oh, I'm going to go to sex therapy so I don't beat off in plants anymore.
All right, we got to start wrapping up.
Oh, yeah.
So final thoughts on Me Too.
My final thoughts on Me Too has to be with, one, chill on the anger, chill on erasive and try to silence other people, allow other people to talk and have their different experiences and try to share different things. You don't control or own the hashtag. Once it was leased out into the public, anyone can pick it up and anyone else can use it. If they're keeping in the spirit or the intent to bring awareness to sexual assault and let those people like shine. Don't try to silence those people, and try to have a conversation, regardless of not like a lot of there's a lot of people out there that have experienced sexual assault or some people don't even know it. Like a lot of guys don't understand that they have been sexually assaulted. They don't understand until you really bring it to them. That you talk about like. Main people who get this are guys with big freaking muscles that walk around in muscle shirts. They will get women. They get women who just touch them. I
know. I can't. It's outrageous since I've started lifting. My T is so high.
When I used to do MMA and I was really buff and I was walking around all the time, I'd go to Broderpool, right? And I could just bend over just doing something, and I could get a random girl like just grabbing my butt or grabbing my biceps, putting their hands in my hair.
But here's the thing, man. Like you weren't worried for your safety. Like women are worried about being sexually assaulted because like half of them are.
I get that. I'm getting that. I'm just saying that men got to understand that this stuff is also happening to them. And just because I'm 6 foot tall also doesn't mean I can't fear for my safety. Just because I'm 6 foot tall and black and have muscles and know how to fight with my fists doesn't mean that they can all be squashed out by a taser in the back. Like someone can hit me with a taser and I'm down as a limp noodle. I can hit with mace in the face. I can't see anything. 9mm does the same thing to my body as it does to hers.
Well, you're a whole wheat noodle, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Just because
you got a lot of husk on you, bro.
Yeah. Size and prowess doesn't equal safety.
Somebody could be the exact same size as you and be able and handle it completely different emotionally than you.
Correct. Was I in a bar? Was I drinking? Heck yes. Did I get touched and I didn't want it and said so? Heck yeah. And like, did I worry about my safety? Something happening? Yeah, something could have happened. They could have touched me and just like, yeah, I like this, tased me and just dragged me out of the bar. And it's like, oh no, he's drunk. What person would have saw anyone if they saw someone drag another guy out of the bar? My boyfriend's drunk and just dragged me out.
Right.
No one's going to say anything. The bars just be happy the drunk guy got out. Matter of fact, they could probably get the bouncer to throw me outside. No one would have said crap.
He wasn't looking at his drink for the last 2 minutes. She could have put something in there. You have no idea.
That's why I drink
Poison
beers.
is a woman's weapon.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, poison is the woman's weapons.
Game of Thrones, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Learn some history.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I am.
If you find what I have to say and you think it's intrigued, or you just try to think that they're, like I said, like these thoughts are like unique, or you don't think that it's there's tons of different things out there like that. If you don't believe that no one listens to Guy's issue, or you believe this is the Guy's world and Guy has everything, I will look out there just for like a men's domestic violence shelter. You're not going to find one. You're not going to find one. And even in the shelters, a lot of women stay in domestic violence situations because if they have a son, they cannot bring them to their shelter after a certain age. If the son is 15, I think it's like 15 or 14 is like cut off for a women's shelter that they cannot bring their son in. So they'll either have to leave their son in the violent situation, or they all stay, or they just leave. And it's an awful situation to be in. I can imagine trying to be a mother in that type of situation, and it's freaking horrible. Then there's guys that are stuck in that type of in a domestic violence situation that, most because of the sexist courts that for some reason believe that women are the best caretakers of children, that believe so they make sure they have full custody of the women. That so a lot of men won't leave domestic violent women because they're afraid of losing custody of their children. So yeah.
What, Galt? You just have this shit-eating grin on your face. What?
Are these still the last words?
Harry's. I love it.
I won't give any last words on me too. Harry's got it.
I know Harry's been holding all this in for like 3 weeks. I'm glad you got it out, buddy.
And the whole hour on the show, he held it in too.
4 years of just crap.
All right. Anything, Galt?
I mean, I guess I can say something about Spain. If that interests you, share that, talk about that, bring up discussions about that. You can use that as an example, as examples for government overreach, for reasons that we need armed citizenry, for checks and balances on tyrannical governments. So use that.
All right, kids, thanks for joining us here on this bonus episode of We Are Libertarians. We appreciate you so much being a donor. If you enjoyed this show, please tell your friends online, oh my gosh, there's this awesome content that you didn't get to hear, so you should join for $5 a month. If you've got any comments, please, Spangle at wearelibertarians.com. Harry, we need to fix your email, don't let me forget. That's Price at... Basically, hit editor at wearelibertarians.com. And
hit him up on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Discord. Yeah.
How do you get into the Discord? I get asked that all the time.
There's a link.
Yeah, there's a link on the Twitter page. It's in the Facebook group, and you just click on the Discord, or just bug Spangle at 2 a.m. on the Snapchat or other social media. He likes that.
He loves it.
I love our listeners.
He stays awake at night waiting for it.
I love our listeners. I have no idea how to get in the Discord, so at God's Foot on Twitter is how you ask.
Yeah.
That's how you get Harry. All right, thanks for joining us here on this bonus show, and we will see you next week.